I think in Heart of the Swarm, or no, pardon me, Legacy of the Void for a while, it switched always unranked. I had the funniest day where
I
I'd win.
remember
I
that.
lost every other game, and I looked, and every other game I lost was on unranked. And so I
Oh.
actually was like 10-0 for that day, even though I should have been 10-10. But just every other game, I'd be like, oh yeah, whoops, unranked, and I only remember after that game to reset it. It was the funniest thing ever. By the way, I believe Dolan, or pardon me, JimRising shows Central Protocol for Game 1, so definitely want to do that. Game 2 for Dolan may go differently. Earlier today, we saw Beastie QT do some cool stuff in vertical spawn positions, yet this game, it is not vertical, it is cross spawns. Here we are on Ruins of Ceres in the bottom right-hand corner. From Team Ascension Pro, the purple Terran Dolan.
And spawning in the top left, we have got our red Zerg from Root Gaming. It is JimRising.
That it is cross spawns. Earlier today, we saw Beastie QT and a TVP do a really nice one base play, pardon me, do some really cool stuff there.
Yeah, there's still a lot of potential on this map. If you want to do a one base play, especially for Zerg, I have seen it quite often myself, and I feel safe sometimes as a Protoss player thinking, oh, the Zerg won't come at me, and no, they do, and it takes me by surprise every time. I'm also very greedy, so it's a very good strat.
Definitely hatch gas pool opener from JimRising. Very normal, playing it out much more normal on this map. Cross spawns, he's going to be given a plethora of time to be able to secure a third hatch if he wishes to. It's generally what we see. I'm more curious to see what Dolan's going to be going for, whether it is a quick 3-base type play, timing attack in the mid game, or a 2-base. Often we see Liberators on this map, which can be incredibly potent, or drops lots and lots of airspace behind the main to make that happen from Terran. And it's even a place where I've seen Banshees kind of find themselves a little bit of metagame.
Yeah, and every rare once in a while you see somebody go for that quick fusion core for the range. And that too can be devastating if you're not prepared for it.
That is something I've seen a couple times on Orbital Shipyard, kind of randomly, in Dusk Towers, or just
Yes,
out of
yeah.
nowhere. It's like in the first game, like, screw it, let's get the range, let's try to make that happen, and see how that'll pan out for me. Both players playing pretty standard macro at this point. Dolan does look like he's opening up, maybe with a drop. We'll have to see really once he adds on that starport and up next, but it could be a Widowmine-esque drop with some Marines, very popular at the moment in TVZ. Not super popular, but still is very quite viable.
Yeah, and it wouldn't surprise me. We kind of saw some of that play earlier. Granted, it wasn't a ZVT. But we got a third hatchery now for JimRising, so he is going more of a macro-oriented route. Dolan does see this. His Reaper is scouting around, just kind of gets a general read on his opponent.
River moves in and will be pushed back, barely survives with that KDA charge, pushing back the Queen of JimRising, but now it's going to fall back. Spots the third hatch, and it was a pretty standard play. Dolan adds on the third CC pretty dang early. That is a very early third CC. Generally, you will see that added on a little bit later after you have some bio or a Liberator or a Medevac, something to supplement and have a defense to be able to compensate for that early base, but looks like Dolan is saying, this is a big cross-spawn map. I'm going to feel okay with this doing the greed. We could see some punishment. Drops are very common, or Nidus networks for Zerg, but I don't know if JimRising is going to do that.
Yeah, the nice thing about Nidus is in the main base there's a really dark area, big fog of war, where your opponent doesn't always scout. But I think at this point it is definitely a bit too late for an early Nidus network, as you said.
And we do see that often off 2 bases, which you can kind of see when it is 2 base, 2 gas, and a Rochefort. And it's like, what the crap is this? Well, the crap, that is a Nidus all-in, which can happen a decent amount of the time. Roaches, or pardon me, Lings, skirting the bottom left-hand side of the map, are looking to find an angle in, hoping to catch the Hellions out in the middle of the map so they can jump and fly into that natural base. Hellions move out, and the Reaper, Banshee, 2 Hellions, and Cloak off the back of this. And it's one of the cool things with Terran. No matter what the opening is, it looks just about the same, no matter what their overall want is, unless it's really, really weird. Especially in Legacy of the Void, you get that second gas quite early as Terran, almost no matter what. Lings, though, are in the natural, trying to do damage. With those Hellions out, JimRising can be quite confident there is no drops heading towards his side of the map, and with that, he's now delayed the Hellions. He can give himself even more time to start pumping Roaches. With the cross-spawn positions and those Lings moving in Koshkii, he's going to be completely fine versus this attack.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he's going to have much of a problem. I mean, you know, you never know, something could go horribly wrong, but I highly doubt it. But Cloak is about to finish
Armory
now.
too. This is a Hellbat Banshee push. Something we saw.
Interesting.
We saw decently in Alreta in the very early stages of the meta when it was developing on that map in TVZ, and TVP also is that Liberator Hellbat play, which was pretty potent. And Dolan's going to take that third base, but he's going to be not super delayed overall, but it was just a very early third CC. I wonder if he thought he was going to get hit hard and needed the extra SCVs. Kind of a unique take on that. Like preparing early to be able to make 3 SCVs at a time. And ooh, JimRising Spire. Basically, we're seeing last game, but this game, but now he hasn't been hit as much. He hasn't been damaged. He's got a lot more breathing room and leg room.
Yeah, we do have Liberators coming out as well, so the Libs, they could do a decent amount of damage against those Mutalisks. The splash damage can be real.
Libs do a decent amount of damage, yes, but you really need them in more than 2. And 2, they can get picked off. The mutas can get stirred on top of them. You need really 4 to 6 to start just saying, okay, you're going to be completely shut down. And when you have that many, you might as well just shut down the Ravagers, everything too. 2 Banshees in the main base of JimRising are starting to get work done. Looks like they won't be able to get too much, only 3 drones, but they do force out these spores and the Queens to reposition, which could prove fatal if you saw Hellions move for another attack. For now, though, Dolan is only microing these Banshees, and with mainly Roaches, he's waiting on the Mitas to be able to have any answer to the Banshee.
Yeah, Dolan does see that Spire. He knows that this is out. He knows that Mutas are probably on the way. So, you know, he's probably feeling pretty good that he's started making some Liberators. Wouldn't surprise me if we saw more. And that is indeed the case. 2 more Libs in production.
Heck. Ooh. Libs are in production, which will complement this very mech-heavy Force Reactor Tech Lab, and we are incredibly supply blocked also. We've been supply blocked for a super long time. Finally there for Dolan. Or no, he's still supply blocked. I take
Yeah,
that
he's
back.
still supply blocked,
Still
but he's
so-
about
there
down
they
there.
are.
There we go.
4 supply depots just finishing on up, and I was going to say, I've seen Cyclone Hellion out of EJK, which has a lot of gaps that can be hit hard and exploited by Zerg, but it's like super cool. It's super fast mech instead of super slow mech. But now Dolan needs to defend JimRising because Mutas, they're heading towards his main, and he's only got 2 Libs. Only
Yeah,
2.
he does,
Or,
and one of
there's
these
a third,
Libs
but-
is just about to fall. Will it survive? No, it won't, but the Mutas, they are taking a steady amount of damage. 3 Libs chasing them down. The Mutas trying to fly away. They will make it, but, you know, 1 Liberator down, that's still a pretty big deal.
The Mutas have to fall back, but you gotta realize with that, they have a very, very quick health regen. So as long as not one is killed, overall, JimRising is a phenomenal position. He's got a little army in the middle. He's taking a 5th base. This is all going his direction. He won game 1. He's up 1-0. There is a lot of there's a lot of Liberators, but easily if the Roaches can get on top of this, it's shut down. But ooh, I'm thinking JimRising may actually get a little bit too aggressive. He's waiting for a infestation pit. That's where he's going up to, but 4 or 5 Roaches, a couple Lings. If he's got out of position, he loses everything. He has a nice soft contain, but he does not want to push it.
He needs to be careful. This is still a pretty solid army from Dolan. Looks like Mutas do kind of fly into the natural as well. They get a refinery, but not too much has been done here from our Zerg player. Dolan has managed to hold that with no real problem.
Roach speed plus 1-1, and of course, what we got in there, flyer attack for JimRising is on the way, and he's got a very dominant hold of the map. You can even see Dolan being careful with that sensor tower. It's one thing that Cyclone Hellion, yes, there's a lot of flaws in it, but it's so cool because it's so quick. You need the sensor tower because the siege tanks need a long time to be able to reposition. But with that, you can do quick, you can be aggressive, and honestly, Koshkii, where does Dolan go from this? JimRising is being given the game of a lifetime, like, just macro up, get exactly the units you want, get Hive.
Yeah, I feel like Dolan, he tried to harass a little bit, but he needs to harass just a bit more because, as you said, JimRising is doing what he wants. He's getting his hive. Once he gets those ultras, and once he gets those ultras upgraded, this is going to be much harder for Dolan.
It'd be cool to keep up that Banshee harass, but by going Muta, JimRising has completely shut that down. Yes, there's a lot of Liberators, but maybe a little bit more aggressive. Yet his main base, the entirety of his main base is getting cleared out. The SCVs have to fall back because there is a lot of Mutas, but you have kind of random Overlords in the middle of the map. That could be some pretty cool drops. I'd love to see drops. That'd be cool. But for now, it looks like one Reaper of Dolan pushing out across the map. At the same time, by the way, in the top right, I think every Muta just died, dude.
Yeah. The Mutas just got a bit wrecked. We do have an Ultraless Cavern on the way, though, for JimRising. If he can just hold and get... maybe he didn't even want those Mutas. Maybe he wants to use that supply for Ultras. I mean, the Ultras are just going to be so good here.
He's got a decent bank, yet he only has 500 gas. He's going to be a little bit starved. This may be the perfect, potent, ideal time for Dolan to move out. He's on 3 bases. They've started to mine out. He killed every single Muta. JimRising is going to have to micro his heart out. Yes, he's been given the game and the macro position that he's always dreamed of. He's at 81 drones, man. He has a quarter to a third more income than his opponent, but he just has to hold this one fight. Yet can he? It is 140 supply of Dolan with 115. Liberators are starting to liberate. The Hydras and Roaches trying to get right on top of the army, but the Siege Tank Hellbat is just so strong. The Hydras, Roaches have to fall back in. I guess what JimRising needs. He needs Dolan to overcommit just a little bit. And right now, I'm just waiting for those Vipers. It's all JimRising has. But the Liberators are only getting right on top of them. And they can shoot the Vipers.
Vipers, though, they're staying alive for a pretty long time. And doing a lot there. However, JimRising, he's losing a lot of ground units at the same time. But he's remaxing very fast. More Roaches starting to enter the field. But it's still looking like, it still could go for either player. But these Liberators getting some really nice positioning. JimRising needs to be careful.
JimRising has to be so careful. It's incredibly dicey. As we were saying before, he does have a very, very strong economic lead. But is he going to be able to do that? This push is perfectly timed out right before Infestation Pit, right before Corruptors, right before Ultras, right before Ultras, not Infestation Pit, comes down to finally Dolan. He snipes the base. Yes, JimRising has a lot of bases. He's got a lot of production, but does he have enough? Can't even touch this Liberation Siege Tank Hellbat? That's the tankiest, just completely shutting down forces that can possibly happen. I guess for JimRising, though, he's reinforcing from bases all over the map. Maybe he can get a full surround. Maybe that's what he needs. Corruptors are heading on in, and it's starting to look a little bit scary for Dolan, but Dolan still has a very potent force.
Yeah, Dolan is still, he's definitely not out of the run. These tanks in a bit of danger, but these Banshees, I don't think anything can see them yet. They can start to take care of some of these Roaches.
Banshee, I love how the Corruptors are like, crap, Overseers. Come on, bro. Get back in here. 2 Siege Tanks are going to fall back on home. I love the Siege Tank turret following the rest of the army. They're like, okay, I can shoot you, but I don't know how much I can do. Banshee's buying as much time as they can. Siege Tank trying to buy time, but a big note, even though that kind of screwed up the overall composition of JimRising, he still has a huge army, and he only lost 1 base. How many workers? He lost 20-ish workers in that battle. He's still got a very strong economy. Yes, Dolan is doing this attack in the bottom left, but now Dolan's going to start scrambling. Dolan secures a 4th, but he forced out so many Corruptors, and man, Corruptors, they can now caustic spray.
And that is such a pain to deal with. I don't know about you, DrennoC, but that drives me crazy.
They're going to be able to hit so hard. Ultras are on the way, not that much melee. I feel like almost JimRising could flood at this point. It doesn't have the most phenomenal bank, but he has a large lead. Beautiful, beautiful blinding clouds. But does he actually have enough units to finish this up? There's not too much ground. The blinding clouds are just barely enough, like literally barely enough to push this back. But man, JimRising's got to be careful. He's got his spellcasters. He's got these Corruptors. I'd maybe move him on in, snipe the missile turrets at that 4th and shut it down if he can. There's not that much anti-air at the moment.
Yeah, there is starting to coming out. There's starting to be some anti-air coming out, though. Thors are in production. There are 3 Thors on the field and more. There's 2 more in production. So these Corruptors aren't going to be long for this world if they aren't careful. More Ultras, though, coming out. We've got 5 Ultras coming out. We've got Ultra Armor upgrades. This is where things get pretty scary for a Terran player.
It can get so dang scary. You're surrounded on all sides, especially with creep. Of course, it's down on this side of the map, but it still could get to that point. Corruptors angling into the natural base of Dolan. They're not going to be able to make it, though. Widowmines push them back easily. They're going to have to fall back. Drilling Claws is also on the way to be able to help them. And we still only have this one extra base for Dolan. He is making a 5th base. He's trying to get more economy up. And overall, it's been a beautiful tactic. He's got a great strategy, yet he's not really... It's just such an awkward mech play on Ruins of Ceres. He's kind of fumbling around, and it's working, surprisingly.
Yeah, you know, Dolan has made this work a lot better than I expected, I'll admit. You know, I was a little worried when I saw the army composition, but he's done very well. These Liberators seem to do just a lot of damage. That and the tanks, they did quite a bit. These are a lot of Widow Mines, though.
Oh, big Widow Mine hits, but they won't actually clean up the majority of the Corruptors, and now they're going to be forced to fall back. What do we have, 14 Widow Mines in total, and oh man, JimRising is right on top of the army. There is one Liberator, but there is a beautiful Blinding Cloud. One to take out the Planetary, one on top of the Widow Mines. SCVs are being pulled to heal this Planetary Fortress. There's a couple Siege Tanks, but they're just overwhelming Ultras, both players. I guess Dolan is like, I want to play the slow mech, and JimRising's like, okay, I'll Ultra you.
And Ultras, they are just so powerful in Legacy of the Void. They're doing so well here. Ooh, a Widowmine, though, does get a kill there on an Ultra. More Liberators try to come out, but quickly start to fall. They have to run away. And JimRising just moving on to the 3rd base now, taking out the SCVs. This is looking very scary for Dolan. He lifts up, but will that be enough?
JimRising with quadruple the income. There is a ton of Thors, which kind of funnily enough, we're all stuck in the main. The supply depot wasn't down. All these Thors were alive a second ago.
Oh no, that's 10 Thors.
Oh my word, this is the worst situation.
Thors.
This is the worst. No, literally, he was making them the entire time, but they were stuck in the main. The one supply depot wasn't down.
Oh.
So, finally we have Thors. Now, Thors are a cool unit. Lings and Broodlords are on the way. Surprisingly enough, Thors do pretty well versus Light. They do get that bonus, but I just gotta say that, like, think of these with the main army. Like, what would have happened?
Yes,
Ultra's moving in. Thor's focusing them down. I don't know. How does Thor v Ultra work?
I'm not entirely sure of that myself, but it looks like it's working out pretty well for Dolan. Behind this, though, JimRising is getting a greater Spire. He's morphing in 50 Zerglings, 6 Ultras, getting that melee upgrade. He is still looking alright. I don't think he's panicking just yet. I mean, he's basically taken the whole left side of the map as well.
JimRising is okay, but I'm waiting for chat to see what just happened, because I love that from Dolan, like, oh wait, oh hey, I have 10 Thors, and those Thors are also 3/3 Thors or 3/2 Thors, so very strong. They're moving in. There's still an army, and I love that from Dolan. It's got to be the biggest sigh of relief ever. Like, no way. But now the big fight. There's not that many Broodlords, though. There needs to be Broodlords with this attack, so the Lings can get right on top of the army, and the Broodlords to shut them down, but the Lings evaporate. Thors are surprisingly good, and there's literally 0 income for Dolan. He's going to only micro this. SCVs are with this attack, and
Dolan, though,
I don't
if
know.
he loses anything, like, he has 9 minerals. He cannot make more units like JimRising can. JimRising still got quite the bank.
Oh, do the SCVs really want to be at the front of this fight? The SCVs are delaying the Ultras, soaking up their shots, allowing the Thors to get the damage out, and Thors do a remarkable amount of damage. Dolan, 42 more Lings are coming out, but they're going to evaporate. The 12 Ultras are going to be the key. This time there's no SCVs to buff them, but they're coming out in packs of 4, packs of 3. They need to accumulate, and by the time that happens, Dolan is going to do a decent amount of damage, man. I wish the Thor stole the 50mm charge. That'd be pretty cool for micro possibility.
These Thors, though, they're starting to fall. I don't know if JimRising realizes that his opponent is on nothing. I think he does, as he is still pushing into this. Little question marks there. 10
JimRising with 2,000% more income at the moment than Dolan is question mark XD. I've thrown 150 Lings. I've thrown 15 Ultras at your army. When do you
More
die?
Thors start to fall, but these Thors doing a great job versus these Ultras. I didn't realize how strong they were.
Well, the 3/3 Thors is the big thing to remember. These aren't normal Thors. Generally, these Thors will do decent and kind of evaporate lanes. Not so much the Ultras, but now 4 Ultras are left. JimRising's economy is going good, but it's starting to power down.
Yeah, however, you know, all he needs to do is just kill off these Thors, and the Widowmine's helping actually a little bit.
There we
there.
go.
Yeah, these Thors just need to die, and then he's okay. GG.
So, just FYI, those 10 Thors were alive when Dolan lost his 4th base. He could have held... I mean, like, he had, like, 5-6 siege tanks, Hellbats, Thors. GG. JimRising 2-0 moves on to the grand finals. But Dolan... Wow, that was
an intense game.
It
It was tough to see where it was going at first, but the economy was just really favoring JimRising.
I think the funniest part was those Thors, just because I saw them a couple times, like, there's Thors in his main. Maybe he thinks there's mutas, like, didn't think about it. And I was like, wait, there's 10 Thors in his main. Is he going to use them? I don't know. JimRising moves on to the finals, and then on the other side, we have Panda Bear Me versus Beastie QT in the other semifinals. See who will walk away with $40